up, YouTube? So this is again another book that I finished reading. And excuse the background noise if you're able to hear it. It's pretty loud for me, but positive neuroscience. And the thing about it's actually pretty funny actually about these books is that I'm finishing them faster than I can make videos about them. Like for instance, I have 5 other books that I finished reading, and I have to do 5 more videos for those. So it's kind of, you know, it's harder to make the videos than to actually read the books, and these videos are relatively short. So that's kind of, I don't know. Maybe if I manage my time a little differently, it might be different. But man, it's a lot of books that I've read. This is I can't say I forgot everything in this book because obviously I haven't forgotten it. But like this was like I read this like I finished it yesterday morning, and since then I've finished 5 books. So man, I've been really putting in work with these books. I've really been doing it. But positive neuroscience. And we can start this off with we can go with the questions again. I'm feeling like a questionnaire day. What is the book about? Now mainly this book talked about the social aspect of positive neuroscience. And but they also mentioned just pleasurable sensations and what part of the brain is activated during that. so so the first thing that they talked about was just being social with other people, and that sociality was through touch. And they showed that the touch from, well, usually it's from your family members or close friends, for instance, and it just releases, neurotransmitters, or I should say, creates new neurotransmitters and synapses that are released through the HPA, which we know is you could say it with me, the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, where well, I can't say all of them, but that's the main area close to the tegmental, if I remember correctly, the tegmental tract that just goes through the spinal cord from the brainstem and is released into the body, which gives you the good feelings. Oh, and the neurotransmitters themselves. We know dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, norepinephrine. Sorry, that one was I don't know what I was thinking there, but yes, those are the main ones. Obviously, there's more that I stated before. Now that I think about it, I've stated it before. So another thing that they talked about, well, other than just social touch, is pro-sociality. That's what they called it, which is basically, I would say, just being with other people in a sense, and not just being with them, but also giving them things. Like, it's weird giving them material things, and they showed here that in our brain we have the same, like when we give people things, we have the same feeling that we just got something when we give it to other people. Which this goes into the topic of mirror neurons, and I'm not going to talk about that here because I have a book on that, which I'm planning to read. So I can talk about mirror neurons in another book, but just know that, that's kind of mirror neuronic. And yeah, we could just leave it there. But also, another kind of weird thing that they talked about was the amygdala is also activated during positive encounters, which, if you know, the amygdala is basically the is basically the place where all of the negative things happen, like fear and things like that. So that was pretty surprising, honestly, because everything I've read about the amygdala was bad, but I guess it has some positivities, and obviously the amygdala isn't bad in itself because, like I've read in another book, it gives you, like, the advantage of fear gives you the ability to know when to run away. Because if we didn't know fear, then people would probably be getting into fights. And well, I mean, they do get into fights, but it would just be crazy, and a lot of people would be going to jail. Like I remember a study that I've read about monkeys who they had their amygdalas taken out, and they were, I'm pretty sure the exact term they used was hypersexual. So basically, they didn't care, and you know, they went around raping other monkeys, which is, not something that we want in the human world. So the amygdala, hey, it's also it also is stimulated through positive things. So the next thing that they talked about, and this was something that I've kind of read up on a little bit, is music correlating to neuroscience, basically. And the thing on that was basically the frontal temporal network is activated during that. And that is, if you don't know, I've said it in the past where all the networks are, but I could just say it again. The back, so like the back of the head where boxers aren't supposed to get hit, that's the occipital lobe, and that's where all the visual things take place. And next, on the top of the head is the parietal lobe. And next, well, next is the temporal lobe, which is what's correlated with music, and that is in the temple. So that's how I know it. Temporal lobe and the temple. And in the front, of course, is the prefrontal cortex, or just the, well, known now as the neocortex. Basically, it's just the part of humans that differ from most other animals, basically, is what I'm telling you. But music, that's also seen to, it just gets you feeling better. So music is also correlated with positivity, and of course, all of this is with positivity and feeling good. That's all correlated with the nucleus accumbens, which is the pleasure system in our brain. So the last thing I want to talk about is correlated with learning. And if you have a positive experience, basically if you have a positive experience with a certain subject, you're more likely to learn it. And I'm kind of into learning now with, obviously through reading these books, and also just in school. I've been really conscious about schoolwork these past few weeks since I've been reading, because it's just like through reading about the brain, like I just found out that like I could pretty much learn everything. And obviously I read in a book that it would take 10,000 years to read every book if I read one book a day. So for your entire life, like that's from since the day you were born to the day you die, assuming you live around 75 years. So, I don't think I'll be able to learn exactly everything, but I can learn a good bit of information, just like what I'm doing now, because it's only been about, I'm not sure how long exactly. If I remember correctly, this is the day 30th that I've been reading every day on this certain app, but also I've logged in another 30 days on another app, but that was strictly audiobooks. So so we could say I've been reading every day for 2 months, but the audiobooks, I wasn't reading one audiobook a day or listening to one audiobook a day. It was more of like I was just listening to it in my free time. But now since I've been reading these religiously, it's been pretty good, and my mindset has changed towards a lot. And I think that's really the meaning with reading, as I've said in the past, is just to change the way you look at things. Because like now that I look at, as I said, my brain as it's like a muscle. You pretty much like all I have to do is do something and I get better. So that's something that I'm excited that I've learned about. And I hope you are too, because you can change yourself. Well, every second we have the option to change ourselves. And this is something that also I think about every day. Every day I look in the mirror and I say, I have the opportunity today to be great. And everyone has the same opportunity. It's not limited just to me. Just because I know about this stuff. It's everybody has the ability to harness this mindset. The mindset of just greatness. So this is positive neuroscience, and the meaning behind this book is, with positivity and things, it's just to try and stay positive and look for the good things in your life. And I don't really have any bad things in my life to be upset about. When I think about it, my life is pretty much, well, in a sense, it's pretty much mundane, but I like it the way it is. That's the thing. So yeah, I'm just pretty much reading books a lot of the day. Well, except today. Usually by now I would have read 3 hours, and it's midday right now, 12 o'clock. But I only read 100 minutes today. So because I've been doing my schoolwork actually, as I've said. So I guess it's a little different day for me, different feel, but in the end it's all the same because hey, I still finished reading my book for the day, and it's still 8 hours left in the day until I go to bed. So I could still read maybe another 2 books if I'm lucky, or maybe just 1.5. But I'm for sure gonna read another book, and yeah, I think the correlation with this in our lives, the significance for our lives in this moment is, let's just stay positive. It just leads to again just more neurotransmitters, more synapses being created that will release the neurochemicals that you want, which are dopamine and some serotonin. It's not always, in some situations you might not want it, and in some situations you might not want norepinephrine, or better known as adrenaline, but in some situations it's good. And BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor, that's something that for learning I think that it's pretty valuable. So try and stay in a positive mindset, even if things get bad. That's the meaning of this book, positive neuroscience.